Luca Guadagnino's latest film, Challengers, is the hottest movie of the year. Features incredibly creative filmmaking and terrific performances. Let's break down this great tennis drama.
What's up, movie friends? Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. We finally got another Luca film, who I think is still far and away one of the most creative and inspiring filmmakers working in the industry. This film let him be much more creative than he's been in a while. I think with Suspiria, he was able to be super crazy with the camera work. And in this one, I was so blown away by the framing, by the cinematography, by the colors, the beautiful cinematography with film. And on top of that, we got so much great slow-mo, intense close-ups, crazy wides. And so Luca basically threw everything you can as a director into this movie, including some of the best long takes, the best wonders we've seen this year. There's 3 really incredible scenes that are played out just in one take. So I was absolutely floored by Luca's directing, because he already is one of my favorites, but this just, again, proves his resilience and his talent as a filmmaker. And on top of that, the cast is so friggin' good in this movie. I was absolutely floored by every single of the lead actors' performances.
Everyone's great. Let's do a little quick synopsis of this film. So Tashi, played by Zendaya, is a tennis player turned coach who has transformed her husband from a mediocre player into a world-famous Grand Slam champion. To jolt him out of his recent losing streak, she makes him play a challenger event close to the lowest level of tournaments on the pro tour. Tensions soon run high when he finds himself standing across the net from the once promising, now burnt-out Patrick, his former best friend, and Tashi's former boyfriend. This movie was sexy. It was hot. It was a hot movie.
It was sweaty.
Lots of glistening sweat, and I loved the filmmaking. And I finally saw this movie. I was pretty late to seeing it, as you know, and I finally caught it the other day, and I really enjoyed this film. I had an absolute blast. It was riveting. It was engaging. It was propulsive. It was hot as fuck, in case I didn't say it already. And also, I thought it was hysterical. It was really funny. And they weren't like, it wasn't jokes that were funny. It was points and beats in the movie that were funny. Inside jokes that you learn throughout the film, and just kind of sort of ludicrous situations that make you laugh out loud. Even the ending is a gut-busting kind of moment for me when, Tashi yells, "Come on!" I laughed out loud. It was hysterical. And I think Luca's a very special filmmaker, and he sort of has this brilliant touch of blending coming of age with whatever genre he's taking on, whether it's horror with Suspiria, surrealism, or even something romantic and a sort of teen drama, teen comedy with Call Me By Your Name, and sort of like this.
And even cannibalism, that's a coming-of-age film, Bones and All.
Bones and All, it's a coming-of-age movie with eating people, but it makes you feel young. It makes you feel like you've been through this before, and I thought this movie was terrific, and I went in knowing that there were quite a few complaints about this movie, specifically with the slow motion. I was expecting it to be half the movie being slow-mo because of the way it's been told to me about I couldn't handle all the slow-mo, all the unnecessary slow-mo here and there. I'm like, there's a good amount of slow-mo, but not as much as people described to me. And also, I freaking love the slow-mo. I thought it was terrific, especially the opening of the hyper slow-mo and then doing super slow-mo throughout the film, the sweat dropping at the end, or just sequences of walking down hallways.
Breaking the racket. That was amazing.
So many great slow-mo shots that I think were excellent, because for me, they really added so much to the mood, to the tone, but also to the characters. They were interesting selections for the slow-mo, like you said, breaking a racket for frustration, or even sort of like that Drive slow-mo shot when Driver is holding Benicio down the hallway after their great day. Super slow-mo, walking down the hallway with this really beautiful music playing in the background that Cliff Martinez came up with, sort of this beautiful ambience, like sort of otherworldly. I felt that with this, where several shots, there's a slow-mo shot going down the hallway where you're just feeling the mood of the characters with this thrashing, thumping electronic score from Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross. That was awesome. The music was terrific in this movie. It was so loud and in your face, and I fucking loved it. And I know some people are like, I can't hear them talking. I can't hear them
That's the point.
That's exactly. It's just.
You think they mixed that and didn't notice that the music was loud?
It's done on purpose.
I don't understand when people, like, when you complain about that. It's like, it's what they wanted. And so,
well, sometimes it's not great.
Obviously,
but this is done on purpose.
Yeah, it was clear. I watched the film twice, and it was like that was the mix both times. It's clearly what they were intending. And on top of that, so the slow motion and the music, it would pop up in times where we're not used to it happening. I think that's what threw people off. And it's all about creating.
Yeah, like it'd be like a discourse, dramatic discourse, and it's just like this loud, propulsive music.
Exactly. It's about creating a feeling and a tone. And it like sometimes it would work, and you're feeling the anxiety of the characters because that music just comes in and like it gets your heart going. You're feeling what the characters are feeling, and in the slow motion, it's just you're setting the tone. And again, you're setting a feeling for the audience to experience, rather than it's not like this isn't just like a showy slow motion shot. Like, oh, this looks cool. It's like it all is done for reason and for purpose. And I think that this film is so incredibly stylish. I think it's far and away the most stylish film of the year. I don't see anything that could ever top it, too. It could be the most stylish film of several years. And I really adored every second of it. It's my third favorite film of the year. Dune Part 2, Perfect Days, and Challengers. Those are my top 3 in the year. And I really adored this film. And on top of that, as I know a lot of people are complaining it doesn't like... I heard about complaints before the film even came out from the tennis community of it not being very accurate or respectful to the tennis community. And I understand that. It's like, this movie's not really about tennis. It's set in the world of tennis.
But it is about tennis, because everything's tennis.
Everything's tennis. I know Tashi says that, but I don't think this is really necessarily a tennis movie. This is a movie about a trio, a relationship, a threesome. I look at this movie, this whole movie for me is a sexual experience and a relationship experience between 3 people, every beat of it. And so for me, when I watched this film, both times especially the first time I watched it, I was like, that movie wasn't about tennis. It was about fucking, like half the time. And even the tennis is like that. When you watch the guys play, and it's the bond, it's the relationship, it's the kinship, it's the intimacy. There is an incredible amount of sexual innuendo between the 2 male characters, and an incredible amount of sexual tension between the two male characters. And then we see that in the tennis play, with the frustration and the lack of connection, and it taters down into the relationship.
Taters down?
Teeters down.
What's taters, precious?
What's taters, precious?
What's tennis, precious?
It teeters down into their lives, and it separates them, tears them apart, splits them, and it brings them both down into a darkness emotionally and intimately. And in a way, Tashi is a reason for both of these men falling apart. But then when we get to the finale, we're getting the catharsis, and they're finally joining the intimacy, and the intimacy is back again. I have a list of like so many great moments of intimacy between the 2 male characters that Luca sneaks in and here and there and sprinkled in, all on purpose.
Do you want to do it, or do you want to do it later?
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Let's do it. Yeah, might as well do it right now.
Yeah, let's keep it hot, man.
Yeah, keep it hot. Well, hold on. Let me break down the characters real quick.
I didn't feel like you wanted to do something.
This is a non-linear film.
Yes.
And the majority of the present day is the challenger match. But then we're jumping from different periods of time in the past of when they're teenagers, when Art Donaldson, played by Mike Face, Patrick Zweg, played by Josh O'Connor, and then Tashi Donaldson, played by Zendaya, are interacting because she's a top-tier tennis prodigy, 18-year-old prodigy. She's going to be a star, the next, the biggest tennis star on the planet, the next Andy Roddick, the next Serena Williams, a superstar. But she's going to go to college first, where Art Donaldson's going to go to Stanford. But they do meet at the Adidas party that they go to because they won a doubles championship, and she won the singles championship.
She's throwing the party.
It's her party with Adidas. She's a rising star and the face of tennis. And Art and Patrick are best friends. They play doubles together, but they're also promising tennis players for singles. And then they all kind of sort of end up in this love triangle throughout years and years that were cross-cutting between back and forth from whoever is in a relationship with her or not. And I love how the Challenger event is basically the base layer of this movie and the story, then going back and forth.
It's the frame of it all, yeah.
And just, I want to say, all these performances are absolutely terrific. Zendaya is so phenomenal. But Josh O'Connor and Mike Face also faced. I've never really seen them in anything before that I can think of.
Mike Face was in West Side Story.
Okay.
And then Josh O'Connor.
You're right, Mike. He was, yeah.
Josh O'Connor was in The Crown.
Gotcha.
For 2 seasons. And then he just blown up recently, and he was just in La Chimera, the Italian film, and then this film. But he is a rising star, obviously just cast in Wake Up Dead Man. But Mike Face is also coming out with the Bike Riders next month.
Absolutely incredible performances. These guys were terrific paired up with Zendaya. The chemistry was off the charts with all three of them together, but I really love this movie, and I love the nonlinear storytelling. But please tell us about the intimate moments between Art and Patrick.
Well, first, now that you're on the actors, what was really great, and especially with Zendaya, we got to see them portray their characters in multiple areas of their lives. So as 19-year-olds, and then a little bit old, then in their 20s, then in their 30s. And we got to see the evolution of these characters really seamlessly. Each actor did subtle things and evolve their personalities and evolve their physicalities, their hairstyles. Everything about them was a little bit different. Zendaya, I think, overall was far and away stole the show, and I think this is her best performance. She's had so many great performances, but this really gave her the range that she's always had, the potential to hit in one film. So many layers. She plays, it's so innocent, naive, and playful in her first sequence with the guys in the hotel room, and then everything from the way her makeup is, her hair, the way she carries herself. Her voice is much lighter. She feels like an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old. She feels like she's just about to go into college. And then you contrast that with just like the middle sequence with her. She's been married to Art for a little bit. Her hair is still quite long, but she's already matured a lot. And then you contrast it even more so with the final version of Tashi that we get. Short hair, businesswoman, manager. She has lost everything she's wanted, so she's tried to salvage what she had in a way. And the transformation of the Tashi character is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, if you look at her from the first scene into the Challengers tennis match, and we get to see them contrasted a couple of times with edits, it's really remarkable what she did, how she carries herself, the posture, because later in her life, because of her injury, because she never got to have the tennis career she was supposed to, she's lost it all. And her entire last 12 years has just been trying to deal with that and trying to cope with that. And if she can't play tennis, she might as well try to stay involved in tennis. And in a way, she's using Art as a mold for what she could have been, and she's trying to turn Art into the superstar that she was supposed to be. And since she lost everything, she's a very dark character. She's mean. She's aggressive. She battles both men constantly. She is such an antagonist to both men, but it's because she was formed by the trauma of her injury. And that's what's shaped her into the very dominating person that she's become. She's an aggressive dominator on the tennis court. When she lost the tennis court, she became an aggressive dominator in real life.
I wouldn't say it was because of the injury. She's already playing with that being a dominance and sort of being in power. I think
controlling.
You said the movie's about sex. Yeah, sex is about that as well. But I think it's more about power than anything. Mm-hmm. And Tashi has the most power in this whole movie. She's sort of just pulling the strings. She enters a very vulnerable stage after her injury. She's having a tough road to recovery. Eventually can't play tennis again. And then she sort of has these two tennis boys that she's had dangling on her finger. She can sort of control both of them to an extent. She can make Art and turn Art into whatever and whoever she wants. And she does do that. Where she tries to do that with Patrick, but Patrick doesn't respond as well as Art because Art's more moldable and is more in love with Tashi, whereas Patrick, he's more of a rebel, sort of a lone wolf kind of character. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. I'm better than anyone thinks I can be. And
it's in their tennis game.
All I need is myself.
Yeah, we are passive and active.
You know, Art goes to Stanford versus Patrick, who immediately goes to go pro. And obviously we see how that's landed him with being sort of a low-tier tennis player who every year it's up in the air whether he enters whether he gets submitted and qualifies for the U.S. Open or not. He's living out of his car. Whereas Art's after, Tashi dates Patrick first, they have their breakup. Her injury happens, which you could argue had something to do with Patrick and her breaking up because she was playing so angry and so frustrated. She ruins her knee. She can't play tennis ever again. And then who's up? We have this sort of rising tennis player, Art, he's good. He's solid. He's probably a top 100 player. But with Tashi, he becomes a top global player, like one of the best players in the league, in the world. And they create an amazing career for Art by being his coach. And they have a relationship, they have a marriage, they have a child. But all of this, I think for Tashi, doesn't really mean much because it's all about tennis. It's all about being in control of tennis, being in power because she lost that power. But she's always had that power dynamic. For example, in the hotel room when they're all young at the Adidas party, she, with her power, is able to make these two guys make out with each other who have never kissed before. They're best friends. One of them taught the other one how to jerk off. But besides that, they've always been, oh, no, we'd never done anything like that before. Oh, no. But just like that, within a minute, she has them, the three of them kissing together, and then they don't even realize that she's left the kiss, and they're kissing each other. But you can see the look on her face. She's like, look what I've done. I've done this. I can do pretty much anything. I can mold these boys into whatever I want.
That's a great point. And the camera work, by the way, multiple times he had his actors look into the lens, and that's a moment when both men realize they're kissing each other and she's gone, and they look right at us.
I thought that was so funny.
And then,
they're like, wait, oh, there she is.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I don't think that Art would have, I think Art still would have been a pro, but he wouldn't have been a top 100 player without Tashi as his coach. And then in terms of Patrick, if he had Tashi in his corner, he would have been the best player in the world because he had the talent, because he was able to, for the last 12 years, coax by, like she says, how's coaxing by on talent alone getting you? What she means is you've been doing it alone, lone wolf, because you're so stubborn. You haven't had a proper coach. Like if you had proper coaching, because the thing with professional sports is everybody's amazing. The top 200 players in tennis, they are all incredible at it. And it's just like the tiniest percentage that puts one over the other. And that tiny little bit comes from not just talent, but also the work in the preparation in like the coaching. So a great coach can really excel someone and put them up another level, because that's how the difference between like great tennis players. It's like, because even if someone wins and beats the other player, it's like they barely beat them every time.
I remember I was watching a Tiger Woods interview like a couple of years ago, and he was talking about a story with John Daly, who's a great golfer. He's just insanely talented, but he's just like rips cigarettes and eats whatever he wants. Yeah. He doesn't really take care of himself. He
never trains.
Yeah, he doesn't train really, and he saw that he's a partier. He drinks beers like crazy. That's what he's known as. He's like Happy Gilmore without the fighting. But this Tiger's telling this story about how he's leaving he's going to the country club. He gets there early and he's golfing. He's practicing. Then he's going to get something out of his car. It's later in the afternoon. And he's going back to hit some more balls, and John Daly's at the bar. He's like, "Hey, Tiger, come hang with us, come party with us, come have a drink." And Tiger's like, "Oh, I can't, I gotta go train." And John's like, "What are you training so much for?" And then Tiger's basically says something like, if I was as talented as you, then I wouldn't have to train as much, basically, because John Daly has like so much natural, innate talent that he can be great and be a professional and a really great professional. Not obviously he trains, but with his great talents, whereas Tiger has great talents, but then with great coaching and discipline is the greatest golfer to ever live, arguably.
Yeah.
So I think when you add, like you said, for Patrick, if he didn't break up with Tashi, and if Tashi was really let Tashi coach him like she was basically trying to do when she was at Stanford, he could have been probably the best tennis player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, but she would have never wanted to coach him full time, obviously, if she was obviously playing.
Because Patrick and Art, they're pretty much equals when Art has 10 years of coaching from Tashi and Patrick's just playing on pure talent and just playing tennis for 10 years.
Well, it's not just that, but when Art is confident in himself. And so the thing is, you were saying the difference between the two guys, it's in their tennis play. So Art is passive and he's conservative.
Well, it's only when he's playing against Patrick, because we don't know. We can assume that he's dominant when he competes otherwise.
Well, no, I don't think so, because there's a great moment when it's after Tashi and Art are together, and then Patrick shows up while they're training in that big court. And it's just Tashi and Art. She's hitting him balls.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
and he's hitting it, and then they both see that Patrick's there, and then Art's next hit, he fucking bashes it, and then Tashi nods at him like, that's what you need.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's ever showed the aggression he needs to be a top player. And also, Patrick says it when Art's clearly jealous about Patrick and Tashi being together. He goes, this is what you've been missing in your tennis game. You've never had this in your game. It's nice to see you let off some steam for once in a while, let out some anger. So that's just...
He's like, yeah, I love this part. He's like, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me jealous and break up with Tashi.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So Patrick's always had that. He's always been a more aggressive tennis player. He's always been, like you said, rebellious, stubborn, does it his own way.
Which is why he breaks up with Tashi, basically.
Because Tashi needs someone who won't fight back. and that's why Art's perfect for her, because Patrick will fight back. Like he says, I won't let you belittle me. And,
You're not a member of my fan club?
Yes, but Art, clearly you could tell for probably the last 13 years has been taking that kind of shit from her because he can.
And he's in love with her.
And he loves her, and he will put up with that kind of dismantling of him and the dominating presence and telling him what to do. And in a way, Art needs that because he can't make the move on his own.
Yeah.
And like for example, the first time he and Tashi kiss outside of TGI Fridays, he doesn't go up and kiss her. He says, I really want to kiss you right now. And she's the one who has to walk up to him, and then basically she initiates the kiss. Whereas Patrick's like dying to kiss her and hook up with her. And Patrick has no hesitation to do things like that. So that's the difference. It's in their personalities, and it's illustrated also in their tennis play. And that's why Patrick and Tashi never would have worked out.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a great point, actually. That had Patrick been able to take coaching or criticism, he would have stayed with Tashi. Mm-hmm. Because he's not going to take shit from Tashi. And you can argue that Tashi, after her injury, she needed Art. She probably hadn't seen Art for a few years, we can assume. And he's pro. He's got this coach who's pretty good. And then she sort of just shows up at one of his practice sessions. And then they have dinner at like an Uno's or whatever. Or like
TGI Fridays,
TGI
bro.
Fridays.
All-American.
They probably haven't seen each other for maybe a couple of years.
3 years.
3 years. And
she's a pro's hitting partner.
Yeah.
That's all she does now.
And she coaches too.
No, she's the hitting partner for the pro woman, and then not the coach.
And she's basically is asking to be his assistant coach. Also asks him.
He asks her.
He asks her what?
To coach.
No, she asks him.
No, he said maybe you should join my team and be my assistant coach.
No, but I mean she brings it up.
Mm-hmm.
She brings up I know she brings it up to him.
Yeah.
That's how that conversation starts about coaching. Because then he says it's not a terrible idea. And so she also asks, are you still in love with me? And he doesn't answer, but then she goes back to it. She's like, you still haven't answered whether or not you're in love with me. He's like, who wouldn't be? Clearly he is. Mm-hmm. And now this is somebody and this is the most vulnerable we've seen Tashi. Even with her injury in the hospital, probably, yeah. But she sort of has this puppy dog routine where she's playing, I think, weak, hurt puppy dog and need to be saved right now to Art in order to get Art to put her on his coaching team, and then obviously eventually becomes his main coach. But she's the most vulnerable, sweet, and soft that I've ever seen in the entire film is this moment. And then in the parking lot when he says, I want to kiss you so bad, and she leans in and kisses him too. She's like playing it very coy and very soft, and I'm a wounded bird kind of thing. But I think that's all by design.
I think I completely have a different read on it.
Oh,
I completely disagree. So you imagine you watch those sequences and you're like, she's manipulating him.
Yeah,
I completely disagree. She doesn't bring up coaching. He brings up coaching first.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure. He's the one who suggests it, and she says, are you sure that's a good idea? She doesn't want to be his coach at first. He has to talk her into it. She's reluctant at first because she's like, I'm a home wrecker. I broke up your friends, and like you're still in love with me. This would probably be awkward. And he's even like, he's like, it was a long time ago. And then she goes, it wasn't that long ago. Mm-hmm. So she says, and basically says no at first. And then I think that she's very, like you said, more open and clearly more vulnerable than ever. It's because she has no power in her life anymore.
I know. And I feel like she's trying to get control of Art again.
I did. I mean, if you read it that way,
she is a manipulator this whole movie.
I don't think
she's playing 5 steps ahead of everybody. This whole movie,
maybe
the whole movie, the whole decades for 15 years.
Well, yeah, I'd say a lot of it, but I would say I thought that was genuine.
I don't think she ever loved Art.
I don't think she ever loved Art either.
I think she saw that's a guy I can control. I can be his coach, and I can turn him into the tennis player he could become. He's got a lot of potential, but I don't know if his coach can take him there.
Yeah.
I got to rewatch the scene. I'm pretty sure she brought up the coaching.
She did not.
I'm pretty sure.
He says, maybe you should come on. Maybe you should join my team and be my assistant coach. That's what he said to her.
True.
I've seen it twice.
Okay. He does say that, but she does the thing where she where you trick somebody into bringing something up.
What she does is she brings up how he could be better.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
You're right.
she brings up she makes him ask the question. That's what it is.
Okay.
She manipulates him, knowing how to push the right buttons so that he asks her to be his assistant coach.
I still disagree.
That's what it is for me.
I still disagree with you. But it's a good take.
Disagree.
I disagree, Adam Sandler. You're welcome to that take, man. I just think I think that she's not manipulating him then. But I think once she gets on the team, then she's like, okay, I have my little boy, and I'm going to turn him into a star because I could never be one. Mm-hmm. So I think that once she joins the team, she's like, okay, I can control him and turn him into his ultimate potential.
I think she's been doing that since the moment she walked into that restaurant. I think that the minute she went to his practice, that was her intention the whole time, was to grab Art and turn him into a tennis star by pulling all the strings and molding him however the fuck she wants. Because I think she spent 3 years probably trying to do tennis, but realizing I have to retire because my leg won't let me play. What do I do now? Let me go mold this boy into whatever I want. I think that was the whole. Man. I think that was. She's dark the whole movie.
Yeah,
she's dark the whole movie. She does the innocent routine. I think that the real Tashi we see actually really early. I think the real Tashi is when they're doing the triple makeout session and she leans back. That's Tashi. Everything else is a facade of politeness. And even Patrick makes a joke about it, how I can see the Adidas campaigns right now going to Stanford because, I want the people to wait for me, which is probably true. She probably did go to Stanford because her marketing team probably told her it's best if you make the world wait for Tashi Donaldson. What's her name before they get married? Tashi Duncan, right?
Yeah.
They have to wait for
the
Tashi.
Duncanator.
Yeah, they have to wait for Tashi. I think that's absolutely true. So I think that the real Tashi we really only see snippets of, but I think it's always been there. But I think Tashi's same person on the tennis court. She is a competitor, and she wants to win and dominate and be in power completely.
And she wants to see some really good fucking tennis.
Yes, she does. It's all about seeing good tennis, this whole movie, which is great. And she does the come on twice, obviously, in her match. But then the movie ends with come on, which is so perfect.
Freeze frame.
It's such a perfect ending. It's great. It's so good. I laughed out loud, man.
Okay, let's get to my sexual innuendo.
Or should we take an intermission break?
All right, we'll make them wait. Just like you waited for Tashi.
You're waiting for Tashi.
You wait for the sex.
All right, now before we continue, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost Podcast is to become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Why would you want to do this? Because you get awesome perks like access to weekly bonus episodes, as well as the ad-free version of every single episode. Like, you could be listening to this Challengers episode without the ad breaks. You all know and understand we need to put ad breaks on here to pay for rent and to buy Anthony's Trader Joe's. Otherwise, he'd be face down at the bottom of a drained pool, dead somewhere. But because of Patreon, that's not happening yet. Thank you so much to everyone who is a patron.
I'm avoiding drain pools.
You also get access to our Discord. We do watch parties. We'll be doing a watch party this Thursday, tomorrow night. So if you want to watch a movie with us,
we're watching Office Space.
Become a Discord
tomorrow.
member. It'd be incredible. That's on Patreon. Also, a great way to support the show is to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. These are important because they help us get seen by new people, help us chart on podcast platforms, as well as adds reputation to our show when people see, oh, wow, they got 2,000 Spotify ratings.
Well, look at that rep.
That's pretty good.
That's some reputation.
That's some street rep right there. However, we need some more. I want all the reviews and all the ratings.
I want it.
And Anthony's going to get me a tattoo of his choice when we hit 5,000 Apple ratings. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm terrified. So we got to get those numbers up, everybody. Leave those Apple ratings. I'll read a review out in just a minute. Also, another great way to support the show is to share us with your family and friends. If you know anyone who loved Challengers, send them this episode so they can check out our review of it, so they can learn more about the film as well as hear us break it down analytically from our unique perspectives.
And argue about it.
And fight about stuff.
This episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com and to get 10% off your order immediately. They have a huge selection of pretty much every movie and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs. If you need to get some posters to deck your house out, if there's a person in your life who loves movies, their birthday's coming up, you want to give them a present, get them a poster at movieposters.com. We got these posters all over the place on our sets, in our office, in our home, in our bedrooms. This amazing lit up, backlit poster, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring behind
Look at this
James.
thing.
Look at that fucking thing.
Absolutely insane.
Amazing. They do that. They do it.
They do it. They'll send
They'll
you
do
a
it for you.
backlit frame, and then you get a cool double-sided poster, which is incredible. This is actually an original print of the Fellowship of the Ring, which Movie Posters has a ton of original prints. This was obviously made for when the movie ran in theaters, and I got this really cool certificate that shows its authenticity and proves its authenticity. It's pretty sick, but they have
very
original
authentic.
prints there. It's authentic. Authenticity.
But again, use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your order right now.
All right, let's get into our intermission. Start with the movie quote competition. You ready?
Yes.
But Mrs. Mulray, I goddamn near lost my nose. I fucked it up. Fuck up. I'm dehydrated. But Miss Mulray, I goddamn near lost my nose, and I like it. I like breathing through it, and I still think you're hiding something.
That is Chinatown.
That sure is Chinatown. Mrs. Mulray, I goddamn near lost my nose.
We got it, man. You said it three times.
I like to do the, yeah.
All right, here's my quote. I used to use this little gun when I was a prostitute.
And I thought hurricane season was over.
Oh, the hurricane season was out.
Pineapple Express.
Well done.
We should do that soon.
Yes, I love Pineapple Express.
That's a great quote. That's red.
We'd just be quoting it the whole time.
Honestly,
It's great.
That sounds like a good time.
Oh, by the way, we're wearing tennis outfits if you're not
in
watching.
case you haven't watched, I got some
Yeah.
high socks.
I got the flip-flops.
Very short shorts on.
Yeah.
If anyone's
Look at
listening,
these thighs.
check out these thighs.
I thought Josh O'Connor had hairy thighs.
Whew, I
Wait
got
till
a
you see
tan going
these.
too. I was in the desert today.
Damn.
All right. Guess this movie release year, Anthony. When did Easy Rider come out? Easy Rider.
1969.
1969 is correct.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because it's 69.
69. You're sick.
What year did Rise of the Planet of the Apes come out?
Which one?
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Which one? 2012?
2010.
Damn, that's a pretty old movie. Holy shit.
Pretty old, man.
Holy
You're getting
shit.
old, man. You got gray hair now.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyways, movie pop quiz time. What two movies have Mark Wahlberg and Leonardo DiCaprio starred in together?
The Departed and The Basketball Diaries, kid.
That's correct, kid.
Fuck yeah, guy.
The Departed and the Basketball Diaries.
I'm the only one who's a cop here, Bill.
Who?
You're a fucking astronaut, not a cop. You're 1800 in your SATs.
You're an
You're an
astronaut,
astronaut,
not a cop.
not a cop. All right. Who directed Milk?
Gus Van Sant.
Correct. Well
Let's
done.
go.
Well done.
Let's go.
Well done.
Great movie. What a
Fantastic.
film.
What a picture.
What a picture. All right. Anthony, do we have any unsubscribes, any haters? What are we working with today?
Oh, yeah, we got some. All right, we got Jose McDade on our news episode. Great episode, lads. Could you please do a David Lynch episode at some point? One of the all-time greats. If not, I will unsubscribe.
That'd be a lot of
Absolutely.
fun, honestly.
Absolutely. Then we got, what's up? Where we got? Sorry. Okay. Lardy Boyke. 1940 is after the war started, despite what you claim. Unsubscribe. Yeah, we fucked that one
What's
up.
the context there?
I can't remember the episode. The screenshot didn't show it.
1940 was after the war.
Started. I think we said it started. 1940 was before the war started.
World War II?
Yeah. I think it started in 1939.
No, World War II started in 1941.
42?
Pretty sure it's 1941. Hold on, let me check.
Nuketown City wrote, Masters of the Universe came out in the 80s, not the 90s. Unsubscribed!
Oh, it's 39. It is
yeah, it's
1939
39, yeah.
to 45.
Yeah. America didn't get involved until 42.
That's what
That's
it
what
is.
it is.
Or 41. I'm not going to quote us on that.
We're guessing.
We have a great
Sorry, pal.
5-star rating and review from Ashton Haas.
Ashton.
Film boys! Film
5
boys!
stars.
These boys run the best film podcast available. They cover films of all genres and decades and always keep it positive.
Haha.
And the brotherly banter makes it that much better. They're the best guys around.
She's the best.
No, right?
Around.
What about the murder?
What about it? What murder?
Anthony ruined it.
You say it. Go ahead, say it.
What about the murder? What murder?
Feel good?
Feel better. Slightly better.
All right. My streaming recommendation for today is The Disaster Artist on Max. the story about the making of The Room. It's fantastic.
We all know what that is, Anthony. I'm just kidding. Thank you. It's a great film.
You better be kidding.
My recommendation is Public Enemies on Netflix.
Nice, dude.
It's really incredible. It's really phenomenal. Really phenomenal. All right, let's get back into challengers. You want to run through your list of intimate moments between the male characters?
Yes.
That are sprinkled in?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first off, for me, this whole film plays out. It's like the hotel scene between the three of them plays out like the film, and it's like a metaphor for the whole film. So, when you look at when Tashi comes to the hotel room, what are the guys doing? They're competing. It's like they're playing tennis. It's like they're hitting balls, competing to see who wins Tashi.
I guess they're kind of. I wouldn't say they're competing.
Oh,
yet.
they're competing.
Well, they're chilling, but they're also like, what if she comes here, and what if she picks you? What if she picks you?
Yeah, but when she's there, it's like it's
okay.
on.
So when she walks,
it's like who's she gonna pick? You
said before she gets there, they're competing.
No, I said when she gets to the hotel room.
You said before.
I said when.
Before.
When she gets to the hotel room, it's like a tennis match.
It is, yeah.
They are competing to see who wins, and then for her, she's tying the strings and playing them to get the best out of them. And what does she do? She says, "All right, whoever wins gets my number," because she only cares about tennis. They care about winning her. Essentially, you know what I mean? And so I watched that whole scene and I'm like, it's like they're playing tennis.
Yeah, and the thing with Patrick's a really interesting character because he doesn't care about winning as much as Art. Maybe when it comes to Tashi, he cares about winning because he's willing to let Art win their match that they're supposed to have.
Yes, before they meet her.
Before they meet up with Tashi and they meet her. But when Tashi gets involved, he doesn't want to lose.
Well, here's the thing. Patrick just loves playing, and he loves playing with Art, and that's what separates them. That's what causes such a rift because when Art goes with Tashi, he and Patrick, they are no longer friends anymore, obviously. And it's that line in the sauna where Patrick says, "I miss playing with you. I miss having fun playing with you. It's not fun anymore." So that's all Patrick cares about, and then Art ends up caring about what Tashi cares about. Art didn't care. Art wasn't that obsessive about winning. He was just like, "Oh, cool, you let me win. That's awesome." But he's happy to be friends and play tennis. But it's not until Tashi gets in the picture where Art takes on what she wants, her desires. So she wants to win, so then he feels like he has to win.
And that's clearly present with his hair and his wardrobe, of present day. He's a bit bigger, I would say, mass-wise. He looks like he put on weight for playing the older version of the character. Versus maybe a little skinnier version of him when he's younger. And then he's got long, scruffy hair, and he's very childlike, and he seems very happy and optimistic. Whereas when present day, he seems tired. He even admits that he's tired. He's got a clean-cut haircut. Like I said, he looks like he bulked up a little bit for the role. He's in insane shape. He's a great physical athlete. He's one of the best on the planet. And he just looks like had all the joy sucked out of him.
He's not enjoying it.
Yeah, he just looks like he's a machine. He's a robot.
Well, a great sign of that is in their scene of the morning routine in the hotel room. What's he doing? He's with his physical therapist, his trainer, just like stretching. Like there's nothing like intimate about that. Like he's like, this is your home, but like that's like his trainer lives there basically.
I found it interesting that Luca didn't really show any father-daughter relationship stuff between Art and their daughter until the end of the film when Tashi goes and sleeps with Patrick to try to bribe him to lose, to pit them against each other, it seems like, obviously, later on the next day to see good tennis. Then we see Patrick fell asleep inside their daughter's bed. But besides that, he doesn't really speak to or have any physical connection or communications with his daughter, as we see from the perspective of the filmmaking.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a significantly. It was a certain choice that he made as a filmmaker.
So maybe Tashi even controls what he can do in terms of interacting with their daughter.
Maybe something like that.
And I mean, the grandmother's really the one who's raising this daughter anyways. Yeah. And it's interesting that they stay in hotel rooms because it's the only place that their daughter can sleep and feels comfortable.
That's true. All right, get back to my sexual innuendos,
Okay,
which
cool.
I didn't get into.
Which, hold on, to stay on the hotels, I would argue it's Tashi that doesn't want a home because she doesn't want to settle down officially in like one place with
She doesn't
Art.
want to feel trapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
So the sexual innuendos finally here.
Let's do it.
There are so many sexual innuendos between Patrick and Art. It was like getting to the point where I was like, this is awesome when I was watching it for the first time. I think that Patrick has always felt intimacy and true feelings for Art, but Art, I think, has never felt that himself. But there are so many incredible hints, so many moments.
Who kissed who on the forehead when they won the doubles championship?
So, hold on, you just watched it last night. Who was it?
I believe it was.
I think it was Patrick.
Art, yeah, Patrick who kissed Art in the forehead.
I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's what it was.
So, that's the first one. And so, both the film basically, essentially, their first scene, time-wise, is when they're playing the doubles match. How's it end? It ends with them hugging on tennis court. And then the film ends with them hugging on tennis court.
It's more than hugging. They follow the ground.
Yeah, they
hugging.
follow the ground. It's like really like intense hugging. So first of all, we have a bookend, a physically intimate bookend with the two of them. And then there are so many other things. So next scene, they're watching Tashi play. They don't even know her yet, but they're watching her play. And she's so good. They're both just like absolutely enamored by it. What does Patrick do? He grabs Art's thigh and holds it. And Luca purposely got an insert shot of him grabbing the thigh. Like that's not an accident. And then
I love how he's like, look at that fucking backhand.
look at that fucking backhand. And then in the hotel room when Tashi's there, I think also like the two of them, yeah, the AC's broken, but I think Luca purposely wanted them to be half naked together, alone in a hotel room. Obviously he sees AC's busted, but still. And then when Tashi's there, and then Patrick and Art are recounting the story of how Patrick taught Art how to jerk off. They were like in the same room, and Art had never done it before, and Patrick was like, "Oh, he explained how to do it," and then Art jerked off for the first time. Cute little story, blah blah blah. That's kind of not really, but that's like just like boys being boys when they're little. But there is a really big moment where Tashi says, "Have you two never?" And then Art's like, what? No way. Did you see what Josh O'Connor did?
Yeah, he's like smiling like, eh.
No, Patrick looks down and away with a serious face because Art's laugh made him realize, oh, he doesn't even there's nothing reciprocated there. So Patrick looks down at the floor, clearly like a little depressed by that. And then he laughs it off. But Josh O'Connor performed that perfectly. And obviously, the innuendo, it's not really an innuendo of them two making out, blah, 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 whatever. But then we get the churros. What's churros shaped like?
A phallus.
A phallus. They're eating churros, but on top of that, they eat. Art takes a bite of Patrick's churro. There's a reason why Luca chose churros for the snack.
Well, it was also improvised.
Yeah, well, that was improvised. The
Yeah,
bite was improvised,
yeah.
but them eating churros.
They came up with that scene that day.
Yeah, I know, but it just works.
Yeah, I know what
it
you're
works as an innuendo. And then, Patrick eating a banana on the tennis court. I know you're gonna say potassium and electrolytes.
What do you mean? I was going to say phallus.
Phallus. Yeah, thank you, phallus.
I don't know. Why would I say electrolytes? There is potassium in it.
And there's a great moment in the cafeteria of the college when Patrick's sitting at the counter while Art's picking up the churros at the food line, right? And then Art walks up to Patrick. Do you remember what Patrick does as Art's sitting down?
Pulls the chair closer to him.
Yeah, so Patrick uses his foot to pull the stool closer to him before Art sits down. Mm-hmm. Luca did an insert of that. That's not an accident. Luca's not just like, oh, let's get coverage of that. This is all intentional. So there are so many moments where and also I think the sauna, absolutely, like walking up to him with his dick out. Absolutely. And then in the sauna, when they're having their fight, and Art basically says, you don't matter. None of it matters. And then Patrick, he says, I don't matter? Really hurt by Art's words. He says, I don't matter. And then Art says, you don't matter to even the most obsessive tennis fan. And then Patrick says, I'm not talking about tennis. And then Art says, it's always about tennis. So Patrick is extremely hurt that he doesn't matter to Art emotionally or intimately. And so these are all these little beats and little moments and all crescendos into their reconnection on the tennis court. When it's finally revealed, after Patrick slept with Tashi, he tells Art by putting the tennis ball in the center of his racket.
That was so funny.
Such a great moment.
Such a good scene.
Such a great moment. Now, what did that do? That took away Tashi's power over Art. She cheated on him the night before. In that moment, I think Art was like, fuck this. I am not putting up with her anymore.
That's what he says, yeah.
Yeah, he says, fuck this, fuck that. And then what does he do? He smiles at Patrick because he's finally
before he serves.
Because he's finally free of Tashi's grip. That he's emotionally, he's like, I'm done. I'm just gonna be here with Patrick on the tennis court, and I'm done with Tashi. It's just me and Patrick. And then they have this incredible tennis match. And the way Luca shot it, you don't even know who's winning. He's not even showing the tennis. He's showing the guys. He's showing the close-ups of the eyes. He's showing their sweaty faces.
Well, it's the special effect of the POV of the ball, too.
Yeah, there's that one, too.
Yeah,
there's that one. And then, but Luca's more concerned in the camera work with not showing the audience who's going to win. That's not the point. The point is that they're connected again, physically and intimately. And it ends in that incredible embrace of affection. And they're back to where they started in the opening of the film of being together and having fun playing tennis together.
It's really incredible. And then what's Tashi do? She gets up and screams, "Come on!" Come on! Because it's probably the first time she's seen some real tennis in a while. And all she wants to do is create. She sort of is like a conductor orchestrating beautiful tennis in a lot of ways. And I like to think that, did Tashi create this event on purpose? Did she know that something like this would happen? Did she know that in order for them to be their best together, she had to sleep with Patrick, even though she asked Patrick to lose the next day to build Art's confidence? But she saw real tennis. And it looked like Art won the match because he spiked the tennis ball while he jumped in the air, and then they embraced.
I don't even think he spiked it. I think he just let go and fell onto him.
No, he hit the ball down at the
Did
same
he?
time. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so. I don't think he did.
Pretty sure.
No, I think he just let it go.
It's so interesting to think that, like, did Tashi mean to create this moment?
So I'm not looking at Tashi as this huge manipulator like you.
Maybe
I
not-
don't think she planned that. I think that's going too far.
No, look, she didn't know their inside thing. So she didn't know their inside communication of the way Patrick revealed to Art that he slept with her a decade before was putting the ball in the center of the racket where Art's tick is. Then obviously, I don't think she knew that.
But I don't think Tashi knew that Art had it hit him to play like that. That's why she's trying to fix the match, because I don't think I don't think she thought that Art could pull off tennis like that.
Because she knows Art's great, but Art can't beat Patrick one-on-one.
She doesn't think.
She knows. She knows he can't.
So I don't think she was planning that at all, because she wouldn't have tried to fix the match if she was shocked to see that tennis play as well. I don't think she ever thought Art could do that.
Yeah, and what's interesting is she knows that Art knows that she cheated on him that night, the night before, because they've had some sort of communication on the court. And she doesn't even care. All she cares about is tennis.
The tennis is so good.
And she's like, come on, that's fucking great. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
It's such a good ending. It's such a great shot and such a good line of dialogue. And I think Luca's great. He sprinkles so many great things. The screenwriting is terrific in this movie as well. This movie was written by Justin Kuritzkis.
He's Celine Song. She's Celine Song's husband.
Oh, no way.
This is his first film.
What a terrific screenplay.
It's a great script. And I love the layers of it. I love the bouncing around time periods. And on top of that, it's just so funny and so well acted. And there's incredible filmmaking as well. So my favorite scene in the film probably, or just my favorite shot in the film, because there's a lot of great wonders. So Luca did a great wonder in one of the tennis court establishings where he starts near Tashi, then he whips the camera to both players, and he pulls the camera back, and we got a wide shot.
Awesome.
And then he fucking whips around, and then he pushes back in on Tashi, and it's like, holy fucking shit. It's crazy.
Sick opening.
But even more impressive, honestly, was the dorm room scene with Tashi and Patrick, which is a wonder, where Patrick comes out of the bathroom. She's lying in bed waiting for him. He comes out of the bathroom. and he goes under the bed and they start making out, and then they start chatting, and she keeps talking about tennis. Then she starts like talking about how great Art's doing, and then he gets put off by it, and he's like, "Can we just not talk about tennis?" And then she's like, "Fine, whatever." Then she leaves the bed, starts stretching, and then the fight starts where she starts berating him, and she says like, he's like, "Can we just shut off tennis?" And she's like, "I can never shut up tennis," and it's kind of, it would be embarrassing if we're dating and you wouldn't be that great of a player. So for her, tennis is first and foremost, and he's realizing that right now in this moment. Like she can't even like have sex without talking about tennis, and that's how obsessive she is with the sport and with competition. And then it starts to fight with. He basically says, like we talked about earlier, you probably need someone with like Art who will actually take shit and not fight back. But I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna let you berate me or dismantle me. And then they break up and he leaves. It was all one take, with probably a dozen different shot setups. Starts on the bed, pans to Patrick leaving the bathroom. Then we track with them. He gets on the bed, and then we have a profile of them. And then they fight. She gets up, starts stretching, goes back to him, goes back to her. And on top of that, it's changing levels and heights of the camera. And then it ends on an incredible close-up of Zendaya just letting out this incredible emotion of holding back the tears. And I was just absolutely floored by that scene. And when I saw that in theaters, like my mouth chopped open. I was like, holy fuck, that was incredible. And on top of that, Zendaya, I think that purposefully, she never cries in this movie. She tears up, but I think that her choice as an actor in this was to not shed tears on purpose, because the character is so constricted and so controlled, and she prevents any kind of emotion from seeping out of her and showing emotion. So instead,
except for when she's got her leg taped up. And
yes, exactly.
She's crying then.
That's a great point. But every other time, she holds back the tears and she bites her lip to prevent herself from crying. And I think that's because she's always locking herself up and preventing herself from opening up emotionally, because she is just so controlling, not just with everyone else, but with herself as well.
I also love the "I told you" shirt.
Yeah.
Which is Tashi's, and then when Patrick's leaving the dorm, accidentally takes it and is wearing that, but then he wears it to when he goes to see them practicing together a few years later.
Yeah.
And then it ends up back in the film later on, too. So I think that shirt's great. It's also a nod to JFK Jr. campaign, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Presidential campaign.
That was their slogan?
Or a Senate campaign. That was, slogan on the button that he had. And he had a T-shirt. He had T-shirts made of it, too.
And in terms of the tennis, so Luca did the filmmaking in a bunch of different ways. I love the POV of the tennis ball. That was so much fun.
It's a really cool special effect.
My favorite bit was they basically built a glass tennis court and shot from underneath.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Which was incredible. And he saved it for the end.
Bouncing the ball.
Yeah,
bouncing the footsteps.
Yeah. He saved that for the end. He kept the tennis pretty straightforward at first, and then he got more creative as the film went on. And on top of that, the incredible slow-mo, and then so much sweat. Like, there's even sweat, like, dripping behind the guys or, like, in the background.
It looked like Brendan Fraser in that movie Bedazzled. What is it?
Yeah,
is it Bedazzled?
Yeah.
When he's the basketball player. And he's being
we play good.
We play real good. And, we just want to give 110%.
Yeah, we just go out there and play good.
Just go out, play good. And they put, like, a hose on the top of his head. He's just dripping.
Or, like, Jordan Peele in that Key and Peele skit.
Yeah, one of the most famous gifs ever. Sweating.
But I loved the under the floor shot. Yeah, but also the slow motion shot. So it starts with, correct me if I'm wrong, the first shot is a wide overhead of the tennis court with the shadows.
With an X.
And then the extremely tight close-ups of the eyes of each three characters, right? They blended together, right?
Not dissolved
together, just cut to them.
They just got their own super slow-mo shot.
And then we cut to the first scene.
Credit, yeah.
So that was unbelievable. And I was like, I am so on board. When that film opened, I was smiling in the theater.
Me too. I was like, well, this is starting fast.
Yeah, I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Amazing. And then on top of that, so all of the interpersonal scenes, they're filmed, for the most part, pretty simply and straightforward. It's really, he goes wild with the tennis. And it adds so much kinetic energy and so much incredible filmmaking. And I love the slow-mo. Yeah, but on top of that, so the way he shoots slow-mo is he doesn't move the camera. It's the subjects that moves. And that's what I think. I like slow-mo better that way. When it's the subject that's moving, the camera is static. And I think it's actually more powerful to see that slow-mo and that kind of imaging.
And the tennis balls, for the vast majority in the film, are CGI because it's difficult to achieve the cinematic style and effect of what they did with real balls. So almost all the balls in the film or hits during the movie are CGI.
You can tell sometimes, but honestly, it's no way to film this movie.
No other way, yeah.
There would be so many, to get the right shot and to get the hit in the right angle.
Especially when Tashi is training Art and he's hitting those cones on the dot. That's so hard to do. Like, that would take maybe 100 takes.
And then also, he couldn't have done, like, the more stylish shots that he wanted to do. Like, when Tashi, he did this great, when Tashi's first match we saw, he does a great push in on Tashi until it's like a close-up. And it's like she's not running around the court like she really would be. She just stays in the center frame. She keeps hitting left, backhand, forehand while we're pushing in. That's a stylistic choice. Obviously, if she was playing tennis, she would be running back and forth. But Luca, being such an artistic director, he's like, it doesn't have to be logistically correct. He's just trying to capture a moment and make the audience feel something. And that's, at the end of the day, more important than making sure the tennis is completely accurate. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree.
And the music. I love Tashi's theme. It's like, yeah. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross absolutely crushed this. Like we said, it's propulsive. It feels like a dance club half the time. And it hits you in the head sometimes because you'll be in the middle of a dialogue scene, no music, and then, bam, the music will hit. And it doesn't just fade in. It just starts like a hammer. And I think it really added to the chaos.
Did you feel or see anything referencing Call Me By Your Name in this movie?
Call Me By Your Name? No, not that I can think of.
I feel like the Adidas party felt very similar to
the dance party
in Call Me By Your Name.
In terms of style, yeah.
Also, and production design.
Polos?
Yeah. No, but it's tennis. There's going to be polos. There is a reference to Call Me By Your Name in this movie in Challengers. When Art and Tashi are inside the locker room waiting to get called into the match that he's about to do against in the Challengers match, I believe. Mm-hmm. On the table are a bunch of waters and a whole plate full of peaches. So sick reference to Call Me By Your Name.
I gotta watch this again.
Yeah, I saw that right away.
But I love the cinematography. His cinematographer is actually from Thailand, Sayombu Mukti Pram. So he has shot Luca's last 3 films, Call Me By Your Name, and then Bones and All in this film.
What about Suspiria?
It's Suspiria. Sorry. So his last 4 films.
So he's done. So he did 4 films with him.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
Or I don't think he did Suspiria. Actually, I don't think so. But what I love about his cinematography and how it pairs so well with Luca is, it's like it feels timeless. They're shooting on film. Obviously, the extremely high-speed cameras are digital for the very, very slow-mo. There's no way you can shoot film that fast. But everything else it's incredibly photographed. And what I love about his photography is it's always practical. And Luca's not afraid to keep the style classic where lights can be kind of bright and it's not always soft, flattering lighting on actors. He really cares more about, does the set feel real? And does the environment feel like these actors are in a real place? And he doesn't try to always fake moonlight. Like the party scene, the lights are mostly, it's like the party lights. And it's like modern cinematographers, they're not going to shoot films like the way he shoots them. And they're a perfect pairing of cinematographer and director. And I love the use of so many wide angles. They really only use close-ups when they really matter. Like, and even in important moments, like the moment when Patrick reveals that he slept with Tashi on the tennis court. He kept those full-frame wides. You see their feet to heads in those shots. I think every other filmmaker, they would have gone in for a close-up. But Luca's not afraid to keep it wide. And I like that. And sometimes, like, what everyone else does can be a little repetitive. And so when you watch a movie like this, it's just so refreshing. There's nothing that's shot like this before. And it really is, like, Luca's confidence as a director to know, like, I can do this incredibly dramatic, big reveal for the film. You know what? I'm going to do it with the completely wide, full-frame shot. I don't even care about getting in close-up on this. It's not that important. He's also not afraid if the camera doesn't look perfect, if it's a little shaky, if it's not completely in focus. There's a couple of shots in this film, the focus isn't completely there, but it doesn't matter because he knows the moment works. And so it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's what I really love. It feels tangible, it feels raw, and it feels just it's so full of life. You know what I mean?
I agree, man. It's a beautifully shot movie. It's really terrific, and I love the slow-mo. Again, I know people are complaining about it, but I thought it was fucking awesome.
Fucking great.
It's so fucking
It's
good.
not like a Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah. It just felt so good. It was used perfectly in the right moments, I think. And with the thrashing beats from Trenton Reznor and Atticus
Oh,
Ross,
those beats.
this was just a vibe. This movie was an absolute vibe. I had an absolute blast. I really enjoyed this film, man.
I watched it twice in 3 weeks, and I just really, really love the film.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, 9 out of 10.
I don't rate movies anymore.
I love it.
I just logged that I watched it and liked it.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed Challengers. It's also, I believe, it's top 2 in the year for me as well.
Yeah.
However,
What was your number 2?
The Fall Guy.
Fall Guy. You gotta watch Perfect Days, man.
No, yeah, I will. I
Yeah.
will. I'll get around to it. But I love those 3: Dune, Fall Guy, and Challengers for me. Top
Nice
3.
dude. Nice
It's
dude.
been kind of a weird year.
It has been a weird year.
Kind of slow.
Not that many great movies.
Not that many movies.
Yeah, not that many movies.
It's been a slow year. Things are slowing down.
Oh, they're warming up.
They're
Things started slow.
They're
We started
heating up.
slow.
They're heating up, everybody.
Yeah, they're heating up. We got
There's been a
bunch
lot of mediocre movies this year, too.
I agree.
A lot of, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good movie.
They're
It's
all
pretty good.
They're all right.
Pretty good. Is what it is.
But I can't wait to see. Josh O'Connor is, I think, one of the most exciting actors right now of the last few years. He's really incredible, and I can't wait to see him in Wake Up Dead Man.
Hell yeah. Maybe he's going to be the dead man.
No, I think they just cast someone. It was Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin just got cast in
Brolin
Knives
got-
Out 3?
Yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah.
What a cast.
I think my guess is he's the one who's done.
This is already a better movie than Glass Onion. Already. Already a better movie.
Remember when not everyone, remember when a bunch of people were defending Glass Onion when it came out? I was like,
About what?
Like they were just like, oh, it's amazing, it's perfect.
It's a really good
I
movie,
was
but
like,
it's not the original Knives
like,
Out.
come
The
on,
original
guys.
Knives Out is so fucking
Knives
good.
Out is
That
great.
is such a great film.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's obviously impossible to recapture that, I think, again. But that's a special mystery movie, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that Brolin is going to be the dead man. That's my guess.
Yeah, he seems like a good character to come in and out with.
Yeah, just to do a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to do like a couple of scenes.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, well, that wraps our episode on Challengers because now we're talking about a different movie. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode.
All right, some fun facts.
Oh, sure.
So, the first names Art, Tashi, and Patrick. They come from the acronym that spell ATP, the Association of Tennis Professionals.
Very cool.
Austin Butler and Chalamet were considered for the role of Art before Mike Faist was cast. To prepare for her role, Zendaya spent 3 months with pro tennis player turned coach Brad Gilbert. She looked great on the court. And then...
Also, Zendaya looked great in general. I've never seen Euphoria, so I don't think I've ever seen her do intimate scenes before like this, besides like kissing Peter Parker. And
she looked good.
damn,
She looked good.
Zendaya! Oh my god!
Yeah, she looked really good. I agree. I've never seen her like this, and I was like, oh, I was like a new side to
God
Zendaya.
damn, Tom Holland. Fucking A, dude. Nice job. Zendaya is 10 out of 10, man. Holy shit.
No, I agree.
The first time I think we see her in the hotel is she's in underwear in a bra. I'm like, holy fuck.
I thought the same thing.
I was like, damn.
I was like, damn, she put in the work. I completely agree, honestly.
She's hot.
Same
She's
thing.
fucking hot
I said
as
the
fuck,
same-
man.
They're all hot. We're not just saying her. They're all hot.
They're all hot.
But Zendaya is really fucking hot in this movie. It was the hottest she's ever been, and the most talented I've ever seen her as well.
Nice save, Anthony.
Incredible talent. Remarkable actor.
Thank you for that. All right, you got any more facts?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Challengers. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the film as much as we did. And
the
if you're
thighs.
in the thighs and the high socks and everything. If you're a Luca Guadagnino fan or you're getting into his films, we can't recommend his filmography enough.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of Call Me by Your Name, just check out all of his movies. He's absolutely terrific. He puts out a lot of movies, like every year or two. He's got a new movie coming out, and I believe he's already going into production on his next film at the end of this year. And I had a blast watching this movie. I honestly can't wait to revisit it. I can't wait to watch Challengers again.
You missed it in theaters, man.
I know.
It was amazing in theaters.
I know.
It
It's still in theaters, but I didn't have time to go to a theater, so
It
I
was
just rented it.
so fucking good in theaters.
That
Holy
score must
shit.
have been epic.
Yeah.
Thank you again for tuning in. Be sure to become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews, and take care.
See you next time.
This episode was executive produced by our chosen one patrons, Cody Moen, Andrew Hagan, Becca Keene, Benjamin Cook, Calvin Murphy Griggs, Nicholas Martin, Darian Singleton, Tyler McFly, Andrew Hagan. Our chosen one patrons are our biggest supporters. Thank you so much. Raiders of the Lost Podcast is a mirror image production. Sound mixing done by Jacob Kossler. Opening music by Chase Jackson. Thank you for watching Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well, notifications for sure. Listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out this other content we have on our YouTube channel.